All good. Okay, so I'm Second Lieutenant Bolton. I'm from the Air Force Academy. I'm currently serving as an admissions advisor in the Los Angeles area, but I'm also covering a bunch of different areas now as my colleagues head to pilot training. I'll be going to pilot training soon too, so if you have any questions about that, throw them in the chat for me. So our mission is to educate, train, inspire men and women to become officers of character, motivated to lead the United States Air and Space Forces in service to our nation. So we are going to be currently the only commissioning source, so Air Force or Air Force ROTC, to commission into the Space Force. I'll get a little bit more into that later. So we're ranked really high against other colleges. We're #3 public college, and as you can see, we're ranked really well in all of our engineering, but also I was a business management major, and we're top in the nation for that as well. So it doesn't really matter what major you choose. Next slide. No matter what, you're going to be taking engineering courses, all different kinds of math, so calculus, chemistry, physics, and then aero, astro, all those things. We have the most majors and minors offered out of any of the academies. So anything you see here, you can do as a major, and then the minors are the ones in asterisks. Everybody does almost 92 semester hours of core classes as well. So everybody gets a Bachelor of Science when you graduate from the academy. I think that's the same across all academies. Next slide. So athletics, you can do D1 or club. So I actually played club lacrosse and club water polo all 4 years at the academy, and it's a competitive team. So you practice all week long, go to tournaments on the weekends. And then, so similar to D1, but not quite as rigorous, and obviously a different level of competition. But you can be recruited to the academy. However, there's no actual scholarship since everybody goes to the academy for free anyway. Next slide. So the academy experience involves just about everything that you can think of. So our summer programs, just being at the academy in general, the sports, but then we also offer different immersion programs, exchange programs, summer research programs, just like any normal college. So you can also go to another academy. So you could go to Army or Navy for a semester. You could go to a normal college and do ROTC for a semester. You could go to an entirely different country, especially if you minor in language. And learn about their culture. And then you can also not transfer, but do a semester at a foreign service academy. So I had some friends that went to, literally just like any country. One of them was the Colombian Air Force Academy, any country that we're allies with. And then Ops Air Force is a 3-week program in the summer that you do, and you shadow another officer at a base and you stay there. So you get to see what it's going to be like at a later time, when you're going in for your job. Next slide. So these are some of our summer programs. I actually was able to do powered flight jump, which is the skydiving, and then the soaring program, which is our gliders that you see there. We also have RPAs, which are our drone program, cyber program, all different kinds of summer activities that you can do. So you'll be doing one of those things almost every summer for a 3-week period of time. We're in Colorado Springs, Colorado, as I mentioned earlier. And beautiful place, camping, skiing, really anything outdoors that you want to do. We are at 7,500 feet though. So can you guys still hear me? Or is that just, someone said lost audio? Just want to make sure everybody can hear
I can hear you.
Okay, great. Next slide. So we have 35 different career fields that you can go into after the Air Force Academy. 50% go pilot. So like I mentioned, I'm actually waiting to go to pilot training right now. I'll be heading to Texas in August for that. 10% will now graduate into the Space Force, and then 10% into graduate school. And so that can be law school, med school, really anything. And it's completely paid for by the Air Force. And you would go directly there after graduating and still only owe 5 years, unless you go med school, then it might be a little bit longer. But it does run concurrent. So you don't owe any extra time if you get it done before and then keep going. That's a question that we get a lot. So how to get started, the best way is go to academymissions.com. And if you are a junior in high school, then you hopefully applied for our summer seminar program. So our summer seminar will be completely virtual this year, actually. So you should have heard back for summer seminar if you're a junior. If you're a sophomore, get ready sometime next year to start applying for the summer seminar. You can fill out a pre-candidate questionnaire as well. If you're a junior or a sophomore, going into your junior year, and that will, or if you're in your junior year next year, and that will get you going on your application process. But the best way to find any additional information is academymissions.com. And then this is just some screenshots of how the deadlines kind of work, but that'll be on Academy admissions. So for the application, you have to be academically, physically, medically competitive and qualified, have good character and leadership, and make sure you get a nomination like they spoke about before. Next slide. So to be academically competitive, we actually have no minimums, unlike the ROTC application process. However, these are our averages, and that's good to note because obviously it is highly competitive academically. And so, you know, number one in the class, that's 8%, but then top 25% of in their class is makes up almost 85% of the entire academy. And then average high school GPA of 3.85. So just make sure you're keeping your grades up. Make sure you get your test scores done. I know that it's been difficult with COVID, but especially if you're a junior, you know, sign up for every single one and do the best you can. Next slide. Physically competitive, you're going to have to do the CFA, which is outlined on our Academy admissions website, which is the physical evaluation that you'll do. So it's like, you know, mile run, pull-ups, push-ups, that kind of test. And then the DOD-MERB is you getting an actual physical exam from a doctor. Both those are required for admissions. Next. Nominations, they already went over this, so I'm not going to press too hard about it, but everybody can apply to your 2 U.S. senators, U.S. rep from your district, and then the vice presidential nomination. So for the class of 2024, we're just finishing up with 2025, so we can't put those numbers out yet, but last year, our applicants, we had almost 11,000, candidates 9,000, and then when we say qualified candidates, that means people that actually finish their entire application. So as you can see, just finishing your application gives you a much higher chance of getting into the academy. So qualified candidates were 4,325, and we let in around 1,200 a year. So we let in 1,145 last year. And we usually graduate with just under 1,000. So pretty good rate of keeping people at the Air Force Academy. Personally, I had a great time. If you have any questions, I'm going to put my contact information in the chat here, and I'll be watching for question and answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Bolton. I believe I'm up next. I'm the Air Force ROTC recruiting officer at the University of New Mexico, and I'm also one of the professors here and instructors for Air Force ROTC. Air Force ROTC is similar to the Academy, except it's at your local university. So those of you who want to stay closer to home, or whatever avenue you're pursuing doesn't work out, that doesn't mean your journey towards your commissioning has to end there. Air Force ROTCs are not only at University of New Mexico, but are universities across the nation. And our goal is similar to the Academy, to develop future leaders for the Air and Space Force, future guardians with the rich history of our past. And then the ultimate goal is get you graduated with a degree and commissioned into the United States Air Force or Space Force. Next slide. We have several programs, especially speaking to the high school crowd. We have the high school scholarship program. And the thing I would like to encourage you all with that is, as you're pursuing any of the commissioning sources you're looking at with the Services Academy, go ahead and try to apply simultaneously to the ROTCs. There's nothing that we have no issue with knowing that we're working in tandem. And in fact, many of our applicants we know are pursuing multiple avenues, and we want to assist that. So you have high school scholarship programs, so they usually are on the same timeline as the academies. I encourage you, go to airforcerotc.com if you're looking for the Air Force, and you'll hear from the other ROTCs. However, even if that should not come to pass and you're still going to go to a university for your degree, ROTC is always welcome for walk-ons, and we can find pathways for in-college scholarship. So don't think that your journey ends if whatever you're pursuing right now doesn't pan out. So next slide, please. For the high school scholarship program, some of the numbers were mentioned earlier, but the main one for those focus, 17 years of age at time of contracting, or above the 17 years of age, which in most cases is not an issue, and 30 by the time of commissioning. So for most of the people in this crowd, I assume we're not having that issue. U.S. citizen, at least by the time of scholarship activation. So again, more bigger aperture for people who want to apply. The main focus for a lot of people is that middle column in terms of what numbers are we looking for. So for the high school level, we're looking at 1240 plus SAT, 26 plus ACT, and then a 3.0 GPA above the board. So keep that in mind as you're going through your final semesters. We do have a fitness requirement for the application process for high school scholarship, and it's very similar to the Air Force PT test. So it's a mile and a half run, and then push-ups and sit-ups, and that can be done with your local high school. And then there'll be an interview with myself, one of the other cadre members, or one of the other individuals who work the academy application process. So it's very similar. Again, I encourage you to work it in tandem. Next slide, please. The program is very much like you're just going to have another set of courses at university. So you'll have PT in the morning twice a week. You'll do aerospace studies courses depending on what grade level you are, or depending on how much of that is added onto your academic workload. And then the main thing is our leadership laboratory, and that's where we basically teach military instruction in terms of building leadership. And then between sophomore and junior, we have field training. That's our boot camp where we stress test the individuals and lead you into professional officer candidates. Next slide, please. Staying in the program, I'm speaking from the University of New Mexico, who also we have cross-town programs with D-N.M and New Mexico Tech and a couple other schools, mostly those two though. And then stay in the program 2.5 GPA as you're going through college, a minimum of 8.5 or 85 on the PFA, passing an Air Force officer qualification test or FOQT. And then similar to the academy, we have a DOBR requirement. So you'd have to be able to pass that medically. Next slide, please. So again, I'm from the University of New Mexico, Detachment 510, that's who I represent. That's our little icon and the main universities that we feed from. Next slide. Right now, we are in our own facility. However, and the other services may mention this as well, we're building a joint facility. So all three ROTCs are going to be taught in one building here at the University of New Mexico campus. So it should be fully fleshed out and ready to go by fall of 22. So for those of you who would join us, you'd be one of the last groups in our old facilities as we move into this brand new facility for all of our ROTC. Next slide, please. I'm going to show off our floor because it has the joint cadet lounge. So in the top right-hand corner, that purple area, that'd be where you would be intermingling with all the other services cadets on top of our own areas, which are in red. So that's our floor. Next slide, please. I'm again, Major Brent Lacey. I'm available at all times. Those are some contact information. Reach out to me at any time and I'll help you transition, or I can help you assist you with some of the academy stuff as well. So, thank you.